Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to time myself here as well to try to stick the time. And you can just give me the number 3 card if I'm 3 minutes in. So I'm going to try and simplify and show a whole cycle here. First, a few things about IPEN. IPEN's mission is a toxic-free future for all. So we work on toxic chemicals and health and global policy work, and we focus at the local level as well. Let's see if I can get this. This is the network. The little yellow dots represent where we have staff, advisors, or regional hub operations. And we're in 118 countries. Most of the organizations are small to medium-sized organizations in low to middle-income countries. We're people. So this is an image of some of the representation of the groups, but these are all activists working to serve their constituencies who are struggling with pollution, toxic chemicals, toxic waste. Here's how we operate. We bring information from the local level, data, up to the global level for policy change. Most low to middle income countries follow global policy to develop their national policy. Most northern countries try to influence that, so they follow them. And then once we've achieved some wins, we try to leverage financial and technical resources to create the change, generate more data, and feed that back in. So it's this kind of loop. Maybe I'm too far away here. Okay, so let's talk about plastics. And there was a conversation earlier today, and I want to just say, we believe, and the model that we have is that plastics are chemicals. We do not separate little elements and adding and begin to fragment them of, is this plastic harmful or not? We're addressing the whole cycle of plastics. So I want to say that, and I also want to say plastics has been really great for toxics work. Why? Most of the work we do is invisible. No one can see it. And there's this launch pad, this platform that's been really great to show many of the persistent organic pollutants, or EDCs, that we work on are now becoming part of the conversation, which is helpful. So I'm going to walk us through this cycle here. This is an initial model developed out of Break Free from Plastics, and I've kind of modified it a bit. The red's the toxics. Okay. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know. And I put a lot of data, some wording on there, because I know English is not a first language for many people, so hopefully, I know it's wordy, but I'll try and go along that way. We've talked a lot about the health impacts of the toxic additives to plastics. Simply put, it's not only humans, it's marine life. In simple terms, early female puberty, leukemia, brain cancer, there's more. These are very harmful impacts. It hurts health, hurts families, it has a very large impact beyond just calling it cancer. And this is also, many of the chemicals migrate to the north, impacts marine life in the north. North poles to say. So stage 1, toxic additives. I won't talk about the laser thing. I won't talk much about the fracking and the chemicals used, but many EDCs are used in pulling out the natural gas and the oil, which is the feedstock for the petrochemical sector. And it goes along this chain of production, then you buy it, then it's in your house. And I'm just going to talk about some of these chemicals which we spent a lot of time on. So these are the ones that IPEN focuses on. These have been discussed, they're well known, there's evidence about them, so I'm not going to go too far off. We've monitored children's products for industrial chemicals, short-chain chlorinated paraffins. They are listed to the Stockholm Convention because they bioaccumulate, they're persistent, and they're linked to harm, cancer, and other negative health outcomes. When a chemical is listed to the Stockholm Convention, it is evidence of all the lies and denial of the producers of those chemicals who fought that for many years. So that's where the bodies are. All the bodies in the Stockholm Convention illustrate the many lies and deception by the bromine industry, by the fluorine industry, and many are listed here. So there was a kind of question before, does industry lie? They do. On EDCs, this is becoming more of a conversation. There's some policy regulation at the national level. This is monitoring with children's jump rope from Japan with very high levels. I won't go in just to say it's very high levels of short-chain chlorinated paraffins in that, but we've also found it in other children's products. So now the recycling conversation. This is really important. Recycling plastics is a theory. It's a diversion, it's a distraction, it's a theory because the chain gets contaminated. So you've made the product, you bought it somewhere online, now it's in your house, and you go to the bin and you recycle it because you're being a good, conscious person. Now it's your responsibility to do that. And it comes back into the system. But if there's brominated flame retardants in that plastic, then that's going to distribute the toxic chemicals to another population, to another system. So we've collected data on Rubik's Cubes, children's products from many different countries, of recycled ABS plastics, that's typically electronics plastics. We found high levels of globally banned flame retardants in these products. We've done it also in the EU. Every activity that we do on the ground, we have a global policy focus or a national policy focus, so it's all meant to feed into a system. So these, again, are flame retardants that are persistent organic pollutants, and we deliver this information to governments so that they understand that the products that they are purchasing in their country, and these are many countries, not only the EU or US, are products that have globally banned chemicals in them. And they're banned globally because they harm. Okay, we've also found in the process that brominated dioxin, a very toxic chemical, it's a contaminant to flame retardants, but it's also generated in the processing cycle of when you melt down the plastics and reformulate those into new products, children's products, even that you're buying not only in Europe but also in Asia and Africa. You're having brominated dioxin in your children's products. It's a highly contaminant chemical. Some people link dioxin to Agent Orange because there's a relationship. You're of course not getting an Agent Orange dose, but you are getting a product with a highly toxic chemical. And of course, food packaging, food contact material. There are studies about electronics to produce new products, food contact material, spoon, soup, cooking with that, black plastic, avoid it, don't buy it. That's heating it, you're mobilizing it. Again, you're putting it back on the market. You don't want to put things back on the market that are toxic. A contaminated site, the first thing you have to do is identify the contaminated site. Mark it off, don't let people go there. Demobilize it. Don't start taking the soil and spreading it around. Okay, there's another angle of toxic recycling. You put your electronic waste in the bin, you think it's good. You put your plastic in the bin, you think it's good. Well, it can go into a system for recycling. It can also go to toxic exports, dumping. Okay, where's it going to go here? Okay, it's on the boat. It moves across to Asia, which is a big spot. And this is waste. This is waste that is not typically from this location of Indonesia. This is from our friends who is in Story Stuff, Story Plastics, with it's called the party department from Piggy's telling me. And I do not know where this recycler goes, which IKEA they go to, but I don't think that was probably from the IKEA in Jakarta. And I don't know if they're really drinking domestic cheap, crappy beer from the US and Indonesia, but this is what they're sifting out. This is recycling that has been shipped abroad. It's not healthy. One other thing I want to show you, if I can. This is also plastic. This is from Guadalajara, Mexico. They're going to break down this plastic container. That's a TV, yes, I'm sorry. He is breaking up a ABS plastic electronics casing, breaking it into smaller pieces, later on putting it into a mill to break it into smaller pieces. What they do in Guadalajara, they make a lot of shoes. They use it for the soles of high-heel shoes, recycled shoes that are plastics, you can buy it that way. They also make wonderful keychains. And when you buy those keychains, a leather boot that says Guadalajara, oftentimes the ABS plastics is what's in there. These are flame retardants that are getting released along the process, heated, melted. And they talked about exposure, so the scientific exposure at eating plastics. Well, you're kind of eating the toxics. Most recently, we did a study into Ghana, a very famous location where a lot of e-waste cars are being dumped globally. And we went into this location and collected free-range chicken eggs, chickens that live in the community. We found the highest levels of brominated dioxins ever found on the planet in this community. The second highest levels of chlorinated dioxins, only because the number one was for chickens who were fed contaminated feed. What happens here when the waste comes in, they burn off the cables, it goes into the air, it gets into the environment. Food, eat, we breathe, people live there. It's a poverty issue. It's a contamination issue. I won't go into that because I'm looking at the time. So, circular economy into the north. You've recycled your stuff. You've been the good person, and you've done with your computer. You put it in here. You put it in a box that some responsible person is going to put on a ship that's going to go backwards to Africa, dump it. And I forgot to say that last one we worked with BAN, Basel Action Network. They put GPS trackers into this part right here, and these GPS trackers showed that electronics waste moved to Ghana, similar location, a very, very well-known community called Abugeshi. That's where we sampled the eggs. That's why we did the report. Now you have circular economy in the north, shipped abroad, toxic exposures in the south. That is no bueno. That is not good. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to jump. Okay. I'm going to. The other one is the other nasty one is if you try to call waste to energy recycling. That's dioxins. We're about to get hit with a humongous wave of dioxin, a humongous incineration cement kiln. It is piling up. You cannot send the waste abroad like they used to in the U.S. or north to Asia. It's getting much harder. So you're looking now stockpiles building up, and it's ripe for the incinerator and cement kiln industry to make a case that they will get those plastic stockpiles of zero value waste, not the PE bottles, and there's even question about that's building up. What happens with incineration? You have a third of all that matter is ash. Most of the dioxins, around 90% of the dioxins, it's not the smokestack, it is the ash. What do you do with the ash? You landfill it in places they put it into roads. Again, exposure, not good. Only a third, you get rid of 2/3 of the material. Not good. I'm on time? Okay, cool. This is a report. All these reports are going to be online. As I come to a wrap, okay, you think it's a problem now, it's going to get a lot worse. Oh my God, this is all horrible information. You're telling me, Bjorn, I wish I didn't come to this meeting. It would have been easier not to. But there's some good signs. I mean, in this, the toxic recycling, you're seeing it as a fast-moving target. And, you know, what to do. I'll leave them up there. You can take a photo because of time. But there's some things, there's like labeling, right to know. Global national policies are moving. Curb oil and gas extraction, end the subsidies. Stop the subsidies, no good. And this is a movement. These are smiles. This is just recently from the Basel Convention. There's many organizations there, including Gaia and Break Free from Plastic members all over. These are smiles from Joe DeGangi from IPEN, David Azulay from CL Jim Puckett from Basel Action Network. This is when we realized in the late night negotiation that there's going to be a proposal that's going to move forward to the world to say, are we going to make moving plastics something we're going to control? Are we going to put prior informed consent? So if you're going to move it, then we found out that's going to be the case. I won't go into all the details again here, but there's some good stuff that's moving here. And there's one other smile. Selfie, sorry. But this smile is this group right here. That's Norway, Switzerland, that's India behind. This is the EU, this is New Zealand, and this is Ghana. And this is where they're discussing in this conversation, okay, if they're going to try to block this when it comes to the plenary, which is where you're going to take a decision, we're going to call for a vote. They never call for votes at these meetings. This group is organizing a conversation to call for a vote. Those are some pretty big hitters. Japan is in there as well. You can't see them. So this is something that's moving very fast. Plastics, I said, again, is very good for toxics issues. And so there is hope. So let's not get too sad about that. And I'll end there and say a lot of these resources, I made a little bit.ly thing where there's these reports and others, and then that report I mentioned before about the trade is there, and maybe I went 2 minutes over, and I hope I didn't speak too fast. Thanks.